Welcome to the Cross Canada Spotlight. I'm Mike Arsenault. Every week we take a look at a handful of the most interesting and entertaining stories produced across the Global News Network. We start this week with a story of an amazing water rescue on Lake Winnipeg. Two kids in distress in the water and a group of strangers sprang into action to help.
Cynthia and Jason Cherweko are thankful everyone is safe after an afternoon at Grand Beach quickly escalated into a life-threatening situation when the wind pushed two children on floating devices too far from shore.
I heard a dad yell, "You're too far," so I stood up as a mom and I looked and I said to my husband, "Those kids are too far."
The dad went after the kids. Cynthia and Jason jumped into action and into the cold waters with their own floating devices. Cynthia reached the father and one girl first.
He was obviously in a panic state trying to get a second child.
Brett Chesley also came out to help. He says the frigid waters made it difficult to breathe.
I don't like thinking about it. I thought maybe the little girl, the dad, Cynthia, myself, any of us could just pass out right then and there. And if that happened, there's no way anybody was going to save one of us.
They say the other young girl was pushed past the point and into dangerous waters.
Once I got the dad and daughter where I was able to stand up, I saw how far my husband had gotten with the other little girl. I knew they were past the point, and I knew he wouldn't be able to swim through that wind.
That's when another person on a kayak came to their aid.
Once I got out of the water and finally saw Blake there with the kayak, I knew there was hope for that girl and my husband to get out of the water.
Blake and Cynthia and Jason won't use the word hero, but to me they are. It chokes me up to just think about it. Though the three of them, they didn't stop to think. They ran straight into the water.
They want everyone to know it's swim at your own risk and help doesn't come quick.
People are paying to come into the park. Yes, we have beach safety officers. Yes, it's swim at your risk, but there was nothing available to us, and beach safety officers don't start work until June. The ambulance didn't get there for an hour and maybe 20, 30 minutes after the call.
And they also have a message for the family they helped.
Nobody should be holding them accountable or responsible for that. Everybody's, relaxed and looked away from their kids for a second.
Marnie Blunt, Global News.
That story could have had a much different outcome without the quick thinking and actions of Cynthia and Jason. There's a good reminder for parents and anyone spending time near the water this summer. Things can change in an instant, so it's important to never let your guard down when on the water. To another story of helping those in trouble, a group in Alberta is using hunting to aid those suffering from PTSD. Now, it sounds pretty unconventional, but it's been proven effective. Take a look.
Decades spent serving his country have transformed him into a soldier with a new mission, one to help rehabilitate others by finding purpose and a sense of self when emerging from the dark shadow cast by PTSD.
We identify who we are by what we do, and then your career is cut short because of a mental illness. It doesn't mean that we're less of a human being, but we need something to help rediscover who we now are.
After his military career was suddenly halted due to struggles with mental health, Todd realized that many of the techniques used hunting, rather than triggering, he found helped heal.
I was starting to use all the skills that I'd learned in the Army. So I was tracking. I was using all my senses, working the wind. I found all of those things were therapeutic and meaningful for me and helped me recover, that I thought, you know what? There's a chance that it might help others.
He enlisted the help of fellow veterans and hunters to help guide first responders across the country.
We haven't said a word in 15 or 20 minutes, and you look back and they got a great big smile on their face. Says it all.
There's a lot of really, really good things that hunting can bring to somebody's life outside the aspect of simply just killing an animal or filling their freezer.
The goal to continue to grow sponsorship and possibly even partner up with organizations south of the border.
Knowing that they've been over in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kosovo, fighting for our country, and we are free because of them. And it's a huge honor to be standing beside any one of them.
The group hopes to continue to build relationships and create a safe space for those that want to move forward but not lose part of their identity they left behind.
We're not alone in this. We may think we're alone, but we're not.
Jenna Freeman, Global News.
Todd's explanation for why hunting is helpful really made sense, even though it initially seems counterintuitive. The ability to use the skills learned in the military does seem like it would assist the transition to civilian life and foster feelings of purpose. And hunting appears to provide the opportunity to heal. Staying in the province of Alberta now, where the city of Medicine Hat has declared that they've been able to end chronic homelessness in the city. How did they do it? Take a look.
Medicine Hat has become the first city in the country to receive national accreditation for ending chronic homelessness. Mayor Ted Clugston says in 2015, the city announced it had reached the target based on its own standards because none existed nationally at the time.
Basically, our standard was within 10 days of your ask or us recognizing, you would hopefully have a place here in Medicine Hat.
The Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness is now acknowledging the feat and says Medicine Hat is now at what's called functional zero, meaning there are no more than 3 people experiencing homelessness in a community for 3 straight months. Clugston says this was achieved with a systems approach where all organizations work together.
In a bigger community, a homeless person might be homeless person number 9683. Here, that's Bob. And they know Bob, and they know why Bob's homeless. And they also know why Bob because they've seen him at the food bank, and the food bank knows to send Bob to the Community Housing Association.
Martin Thompson is the manager of Community Social Development in Lethbridge. He says each community in Canada faces different challenges, but for Lethbridge, one sticks out.
The opioid meth crisis has been a game changer, and it has significantly increased our homelessness problem. And these issues, of course, have impacted our community safety and crime rates and put pressure on the police.
Addressing homelessness is a complex process, and Thompson says Lethbridge hopes to someday soon join Medicine Hat at functional zero.
Our goal is to get there by 2025. But again, to do that, we're going to need infrastructure, not just programs. We're going to need infrastructure.
Thompson says a strategy is in place and it will take a collective effort to get there. Quinn Campbell, Global News.
That really is an impressive achievement for the city of Medicine Hat. Yes, it's a bit easier to do in a smaller population center to have those relationships between people and organizations to ensure that no one slips through the cracks. It would be a lot more difficult to do this in a larger city, but it's great that Medicine Hat has been able to provide a blueprint on how the issue of chronic homelessness can be tackled. To the East Coast, where a group of students in Nova Scotia ranging from kindergarten to grade 12 have written, performed, and produced an entire album of songs of what life has been like during the pandemic, and they've produced some bangers. Take a listen.
These words, written with the help of New Brunswick music students, are hitting home.
Never felt like this before.
Students at the Petitcodiac Regional School have poured their hearts into helping to write and cut an album all about life during COVID-19.
We talked about like we're all in this together, or like when it's all over.
You guys like that, Nick?
Guided by their music teacher, students from kindergarten to grade 12 at the Petitcodiac Regional School had a hand in writing and producing the 15-track CD entitled Distantly Close. Mercereau, who used to be a full-time musician, enlisted some professional maritime musicians to help write and play on the tracks, which he says are a reflection of how the kids have been feeling amid the pandemic.
It's like a way of checking in with them and then writing about it too, so I feel like there was a therapeutic component as well.
That certainly was the case for 13-year-old Dawson Chase, who dreams of being a musician and said playing his ukulele on some of the tracks really tugged at his heartstrings.
I mean, music is like my dream, what I've wanted to do, and I mean, getting to do this, making our own song and having our own album, it's pretty cool.
I thought this was really cool because we get to write our own song and like it's actually on a CD.
The students really connected with the words in the title track, despite being separated from friends and family.
So distantly close.
Messaging, FaceTiming, like every day.
Is that helping?
Yeah.
Proceeds from the CD will be used to support the school's music program, and while the kids work away at releasing another music video, Mercereau hopes those who listen to the lyrics in the songs will find a common connection.
But I don't feel so far apart,
which music so often does. Shelley Steeves, Global News, Petitcodiac.
I mentioned in previous weeks that I started playing guitar at the start of the pandemic, and that story has really inspired me to get back into it. I haven't touched my guitar in over a month, but that's the catalyst I needed to change that. So kids, thanks for the kick in the butt. Keep up the great work. Finally this week, we're going back to Alberta for a story on the dashing and rekindling of an Olympic dream.
This has to be a nightmare. This can't be true.
In 2016, in front of the Olympic crowd in Rio, Danielle Lapage's dreams were shattered after feeling a pop in her leg during warm-ups.
Looked up into the stands and my parents are both up there, just like wide-eyed too, like scared, concerned for me, so confused. And like that's, I think, the moment that like I knew it was real and my heart kind of broke.
That pop turned out to be a ruptured hamstring. While Lapage tried to fight through the pain, she was forced to forfeit. Her games were over. In a bittersweet twist, her close friend and teammate Erica Wiebe won gold in the 75-kilogram category the same day. Instead of a medal, Lapage came home with a pair of crutches and questions surrounding her future.
I just thought that it would happen for me. And so when it didn't happen for me, it kind of my whole, I guess, worldview and beliefs of how my life would unfold kind of crumbled.
But the inner fire was still burning, and Lapage slowly returned to coaching, training, and eventually competition. 5 years later, she has had to fight through new injuries and found new highs, making 6 international podiums in 2019 and finally qualifying for her second Olympic Games.
Inspired by her energy and her passion, her commitment, it's what's kept me at the top of my game. And so, she's gone through so much and she's just such a warrior.
Tokyo 2020 will be the first Games where Canada has not qualified a full women's wrestling team since the event was added in 2004. Still, Wiebe and Lapage hope to leave their mark with no regrets.
Just like soak up every moment, because you can't guess the future and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how many more of these moments you're going to get. And I think that this journey and the Olympic experience is so special and so rare, and I get a second chance.
Cami Kepke, Global Sports.
It's amazing that we're just 6 weeks away from the opening of the Olympics, and we're still not exactly sure if they're going to take place or not. Hopefully, for Danielle's sake, she does get an opportunity to compete in Tokyo and realize her dream. Coming back from an injury like that is not easy, and the focus and determination needed to return 5 years later is something to be emulated for sure. Well, that's it for the Cross Canada Spotlight this week. Be sure to watch Global News Weekend every Saturday and Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Global TV app. For now, stay tuned for more news and weather.